Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MSDynamicsWorld.com, and I am pleased to welcome you to a session all about the ClickLearn solution for Dynamics 365 for customer engagement, Dynamics CRM. As we get started today, please do know that we are recording today's event, and we also will leave time at the end for questions. So if you have any questions as we go today, please feel free to enter them into the Q&A block you should see just to the right of the main presentation area here in the WebEx window. Our presenter today is Peter from ClickLearn. It's great to have him with us, and I look forward to his presentation. So without any further delay, Peter, I am going to hand things off to you to begin.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody to this demonstration of ClickLearn. I hope you can all see my screen, and yes, I'm Peter. I am the product evangelist here at ClickLearn, and I will show you how easily you can create documentations for your processes in CRM, and also create learning material for your end users and customers. To start out with, I would like to show you the documentation of a pre-recorded process looks like, and the 7 different learning formats that we will provide you with. I will do a recording of a process, then edit the process and produce these 7 different learning formats. Then I want to show you how easily you can translate your work instructions to different languages. And finally, how you can provide structure to all your instructions by creating a completely searchable learning portal with ClickLearn. First, let's take a look at the pre-recorded process. Here I'll open up ClickLearn Studio, which is the ClickOnce application that we will use to do all the learning formats from. And first I'll go into a pre-recorded version here, and I'll look at the web page. So as you can see here, the first of our 7 learning formats is the HTML page. This is completely structured. We have uniform instructional sentences, and then we have perfectly cropped images with a marked up area for the focus that I need to be aware of. ClickLearn Studio is a cross-platform application, meaning that we're capable of going between systems. So as you can see here, I've recorded a process where I'm starting in CRM and then going into Excel and then going back into the CRM system. We of course provide you with different types of learning material. We have 4 different types of written material, and then we have 3 different types of videos. The first one is of course this HTML page, but then we also have the Word document. And the typical way of looking at a work instruction, or to create work instructions, is normally to open up Word, start typing in your instructions, capturing the screenshots from your application, and then cropping them and marking up the relevant areas. We've actually done all that for you already. And here you can see that we have a perfect aligned work instruction in Word, where all the instructional sentences are in here, and again all the cropped images. This is built upon a template that will of course have your corporate identity, meaning that you will not have the ClickLearn up here. You will of course have your logo, or the logo that you want to produce towards your customers. We can also capture the metadata of who has created it, so if you want to present that to end users, that can also be easily set up, as you can see. Another learning format is the PDF. This is of course just a print of the Word document. And then the 4th written material we have is a PowerPoint slide deck. This is meant for for classroom training and for large screen viewing. And as you can see, when you go into a classroom, then looking at small cropped images is not really the best way of looking at large screen viewing. So here we've provided you with the entire screen capture, and again with the narration of the instruction in the bottom part. Then we have the 3 different videos. The first video is the Show Me video. This is a walkthrough of the entire process, step by step. I'll just turn this on off.
Objective. Use this guide to export opportunities to Excel and change a value. Click on the navigation button, Sales. Click on the link Go to your list of opportunities. Click on the command button, Export to Excel. Click on Enable Editing. Click on the cell, G3 with the value 35,000.00. Press the Delete key. Enter the text 10,000. Press the Enter key. Click on the cell, G4.
And I'll just stop it here, because as you can see, we're using high quality digital voices to narrate all the instructional sentences. And even the manually written parts that I put in start is also being narrated. We are supporting about 140 different voices, and this is supporting about 45 different languages. So we support both male and female narrations and also different accents within different languages. So there's a large amount to pick between to have that perfect digital voice that you want to have for your material. The second video here is the Try Me video. And I'll just turn off the voice here because the narration through all the videos are going to be the same. As you saw in the first video, the cursor is moving seamlessly through each step and showing us how to perform the process here. Now, the Try Me video is again going to narrate out my instructional sentences and also going to support me with the subtitle of what my action is. But it will not progress to the next step. I actually need to go up here and click on the field. I need to understand the instructions and then perform the steps. This gives me a sandbox field to the solution, so suddenly I'm now capable of following a process outside your system in a safe environment where I'm not able to mess up any valuable data that you have in your CRM system. So I can actually learn the processes before we go into the live system. The last video is a test me video. Can turn off the sound. This runs on the same simulation as the first the video we saw just before the Try Me video. So again here it will narrate out my instructions. It will show me my steps that I want to go through, but it will not mark up the area of interest. I need to understand where is the specific part that I will need to go to. So I have to understand the go to sales button and then go through the process here. Link to export and through the process here. If I, for instance, don't know where the cell G3 is and I'm clicking around in my Excel sheet here, then ClickLearn will eventually tell me, no, this is where you need to go. I will, of course, get a mark of a wrong part in here. There we go. And there. And I'll just go through these steps quickly. Go to File, Save, Save. And there we go. At the very end of my test, I get a test result. This is, of course, completely customizable, so it can be set up in the way that you want your test result to be. Well, not the result, but how you want the end users to engage with it. Our material is also SCORM compliant. So if you're using a learning management system or your customers are using a learning management system, well, then you can use these material to simply upload directly. We can build the zip file for you, so no problem in that. So this is the 7 different learning formats that we are providing you with. But let's look at how you actually create this material. So I'll just close down this and go back into ClickLearn Studio. So to do a recording, I need to go first to have the CRM system. Here I have my CRM system open, and then I will open my ClickLearn Studio. I'll go up here on New and ask for a recording. The first window I'm presented with is a window of all the connectors that we are using, or we have available at the moment. As you can see, we're supporting the entire Dynamics 365 community, or the portfolio. But we also support the, as I said, cross-platforms. So if we need to go outside of the boundaries of CRM or any Dynamics application into, for instance, an Office application, well, then I have a connector for that. I also have two generic connectors for web applications and for Windows applications. So if I have any process that I need to go through to there, then I can also record that. In this case, I'll choose the CRM. Then I'm listed with different languages here. These are the ones that I've set up when I started up ClickLearn. This can, of course, be completely customized to your needs. Go yes for that one. And this is the instructions that I need to be aware of for doing a recording. What it tells me is that when I click yes, it will change me into my live system. It will turn on the recorder and give me the ability to record the process that I'm about to go through. As you can see, the thing that I need to be aware of is the thick green rectangle, because that tells me that ClickLearn is ready to record the step. In the upper right corner, you can see I have the Dynamics logo. If I, for instance, were to go down here, which is outside within the Windows application, well, then you see that I get the Windows logo. This tells me that the connectors are working automatically, so you don't have to worry about going to a different application, because ClickLearn will automatically figure out what application you're in and choose the correct connector for you. So all you have to do is just be aware of the green rectangle. Here I'll do a process where I go into I'll go into an account, and I can choose to do an edit of an account. Again, this is just an example. It can be any process that you want to record. When I come into the window here, I'm capable of choosing all the parts that I want to choose within my window. So that means that I will click on the fields of my focus, of my interest at this point. I can at any point of time go in and add in additional text, and it will of course record that for me. Now I'm not going to add in additional knowledge to the CRM system, because then I have to go back and delete all that. But in this case, I'll just click on a couple of focus field areas, and then I can, for instance here, I can choose the drop-down menu and choose a competitor instead. And then I'll close down the recording. Here can I save it, call this edit an account, save that one, and then I can go into my edit part. The edit tool that we have here is actually very powerful, because everything that I will do in this edit part here will take effect through all the 7 different learning formats that I want to produce afterwards. As you can see here, I have the steps of my process, and I have a preview of everything that I just went through. It has already created my instructional sentences, and it's also cropped the screen captures and also marked up the the areas that I have of interest. Now, to do this process and give it some structure, I want to first set it up with a chapter. So I'll add in a chapter up here, and this is to state the objective of it. So let's put in objective. Say yes. I can put in a note stating what my objective is. And if I want to know how this will sound in my videos, then I have the text-to-speech button up here where I can easily hear.
Use this guide to edit an account.
I can also add in a image for my work instructions. So if I have something that I want to add into this process that has value for me, that is not taken from the CRM system, well, then I can simply go in here, add a picture, and let's see what I have in here. I have an old workflow diagram. In case this is just it has really nothing to do with this process, but it's to give you an idea about how easily I can add in an image. Also, I might have some changes to the recording. For instance, I clicked on the sales button up here, and then I clicked on the sales area. That's really not necessary because I could go on directly to my account. So here I want to exclude this one. I can do two different parts here. I can either delete it, or I can simply just exclude it. If I delete it, then it's gone forever. But if I exclude it, then it's taken out of my work instruction, and my end users will never get to see it, or my customers. But if I want to have it re-included, then I have the list of roles up here that I can go into. And I can go into the developer role, where I can easily re-include it simply by right-clicking and unexcluding it. These different roles here gives me the ability to go in and focus on a specific part that I want to address. That could be, for instance, if I want to do something within the video part only and not in the written material. But we'll get back to that in a second. Now, another part in here is also that since this is an instruction for how to edit an account, then I don't want my end users to look at one single account or specific account. I want them to be able to choose anyone. So by going down here to the cell of account, I'm presented with two options here. I can choose any row or any cell. If I choose the any row, then it will change my instructional sentence, but it will also change the thumbnail that I'm looking at. So now I have a larger area to focus on. And this will also give me the ability that when I go into the videos, then I can now choose from any one of these fields. Now let's say that I've created this work instruction some time ago, and I've added in something additional to my CRM system, or I've upgraded my system. There's something that has changed within this process, and I want to add those steps in. Then I can easily just go up here, say record new steps, and then it will take me back into the live system, and turn on the recorder, and I can now go in and add the additional information that I want to have. That could be that I also want them to look at the ticker symbol. And to close down this part here and go back out to the front page. And then I can close down my recording. Now these additional steps will now be added into my instruction right away. And I can at any point in time in my work instruction add in additional steps that I want to re-record. Now, I did quite a lot of steps within the same window, and as an author, I want to have a tight work instructions for my end users. So in this case, I actually want them to be focusing on list windows. So I can simply go in here, mark up the areas that I want to have cropped together, and then I can create a group. I can choose a bulleted list or a numbered list. I'll choose a numbered list. And then my instruction is set up. So I get a cropped image for my work instruction, and I get a list of all the steps that I'll need to do within this thumbnail. So very easily I can now add in additional information. I can even put in an information here where I want to, let's say, put a note in saying, and have that set together with the phone number field. So very easily I can enrich my my work instructions and add additional knowledge to it. In this case, I've only put in, for instance, one chapter. If I, for instance, have a process that has 200 steps, then I want to have them more structured. And every time I add in a chapter, that will also give me a chapter within the video so I can skip through some steps in here. In this case, I can put in an additional chapter, putting steps, and press OK. And now I've actually created a work instructions that has added in some structure. It has given me some additional information to my steps, and I've also added in an additional picture and some notes. So now I'm ready with this work instruction and I want to have this produced. So I'll say, yes, please save it and produce this material. So now ClickLearn will go ahead and produce these 7 different learning formats that I just presented for you earlier, with the effects that I've just done within my editing part. Meaning that as I go into the videos, the chapters will fade in and out, and my manually written instructions will also be narrated. And at the same time, I will have the structure of the cropping of my group that I did in my work instruction. Now, let's say that I want to have, oh, now it's all done producing, and I can go up here on my view, and we can look at the, there we go. Now I have my work instructions ready with links to all of it. Now, let's say that I have some end users that are speaking, or a customer that needs my material delivered in a different language. This could be Spanish or French or whatever your end users or customers may need. Well, then, of course, normally I would go ahead and start doing the entire process here and re-record all of it. But not with ClickLearn. With ClickLearn, I have the ability to simply go up here and choose to have it changed into a different language. Now see, ClickLearn is, as I said earlier, is divided up in an instructional sentence that is divided up in 2. There is the part here that is taken from a template that is lying behind, and then there's the part in bold that is taken directly from the system. So let's say that I have end users that want the instructions in their native language, but I'm using a English user interface for everybody. Well, then I can change this instruction, for instance, in this case, into German. And the steps that I've created down here will now be, the instructional steps will now be in German, but the parts taken from the system will still be in English. Of course, anything that I put in here manually, I need to have translated myself. But to do that, I can either go in here and then translate it myself, or I can use an Azure translation services. I can do that for each step, or I can simply go out here on the field that I was looking at before, right-click, add a translation, and then change this one into the language. I'll do this translation into German, and this is because my user interface, I don't have a Spanish or another one. I have English and German and so forth. So here I'll go in and change my user interface, change the language into German, say yes. CRM will now be updated and come out to me. There we go. Nope. And now I can go back to my work instruction, and I can simply say do a replay. When I do a replay, ClickLearn will go through that process that we just captured earlier, that we did earlier, and it tells me to keep my hands off mouse and keyboard. I'm not allowed to interfere. I want this to be done on the German user interface now. And now ClickLearn will automatically go through the entire process that we just did before. And it will also capture all the parts that we did in the translation. Now, since ClickLearn is actually capturing the metadata behind all of this, then I'm capable of understanding the system. So in this case, I was a little bit too fast. I was not able to, I did not go in and tell ClickLearn what to look at. So I'm now presented with a red screen because there is 2 different parts in my user interface in the English and in the German. So in this case, I want to go up here and I want to do tell ClickLearn what is wrong here. I can now go in and do a recording. Look at the step that I want to re-record. There we go, and replace the step that was failing. And now ClickLearn will continue with the process and understanding that this is how the system is now working and updating my work instructions into a German user interface. So simply by recapturing everything that I have between the systems. Now, the part that I showed you before is also if you have added in some customizations to your system. Well, then we read, of course, all the customizations that you put in here, but if that has added a step to one of your processes, then if you do a replay, ClickLearn will automatically tell you that here you need to provide some additional knowledge to this work instruction to perform correctly. And I can now go ahead and produce this into the two different learning formats. I can also just go directly into my work instruction, change my language, and then you will see that all my steps have now been updated here, and it has taken translated everything into German. And even if I were to go into my video roll, here we go, show me.
Ziel. Verwenden Sie diese Anleitung, ein Konto zu bearbeiten.
And as you can hear, even the narration has been translated now into the work instructions. And again, the cursor will move seamlessly through the process of my work instruction. So this is how I can very easily create a work instruction, deliver it into 7 different learning formats, edit it so I have the output that I want for my customers and end users, and at the same time also even translate it into different languages. Now, the replay button can also be used for if you do an upgrading. Well, then I can choose a different system that I want to, the newer version that I want to look at, and then I can simply just run the replay and ClickLearn will recapture all the steps of my process. So now that I've created all this, then I want to structure it in a way for my end users so they can get the best way of understanding this. This I can do by creating a learning portal. First of all, to do that, I want to create a user manual with my work instructions in. And for that, we've called those books. We can call this a book for accounts. And then I'm presented with a clean book structure. Here I can now see all my different recordings that I have here. I can now take my new work instruction and simply add that to my book. I can choose multiple work instructions here, drag them over, and I can rearrange everything and mark up like this, and then drag back, for instance. So very easily I can set up how I want this user manual to be looking and how I want to have everything organized. Close that one down, save it, yes. So in this case, I've created quite a lot of different books that is supporting different fields of my organization. And I want to have that structured within this learning portal. So here I want to create a shelf. A shelf is created the same way that I did with the book, just that now it's no longer the recordings I drag over, it's simply the books that I drag over instead of the recordings. And when I do that, this is where I can also add in an assistant. So when I've created all of my learning portal, when I've created my learning portal, then I want to have this produced and I want to have it published. So ClickLearn, it is completely up to you how you want to store your material. And this means that you can have this stored on local servers or on a SharePoint solution, or if you want to make it as easy as possible, then we provide you with a content cloud where you can also upload all the material to. This content cloud is hosted on Azure, and by using that feature and publishing it up into that, then I can go into my cloud portal. And in this cloud portal, I'm capable of going in and doing some tracking, I can put in a tracking ID to my learning portal. When I upload my learning material or my shelf, then I can choose two different things. I can choose to have a private or a public. If I choose a public one, then anyone who knows my URL is capable of entering to this learning material. If I choose a private one, well then it's only then you need to log in, and you can do that either with Office 365 ID, or you can do it with a Creative Cloud, a ClickLearn Cloud ID that we will provide you with. There's also another feature with the Content Cloud, and that is the dashboard here. Now, the dashboard is giving you an overview of where in the world have people been viewing upon your material, what have they looked at, how many times have they seen the Show Me video or the Word, download the Word document. But also at the very end of all our material, there is a place where you can rate the material. So now you can get instant feedback from your end users. They can also add in written feedback that you will get presented here right away. The learning portal that I'll go right back into in a second is, as I said earlier, completely searchable. And this gives you the opportunity that when your end users or your customers are searching within this learning portal, then you can see what they're searching for. So you can set up the portal in a better way so you can embrace what they actually want and be proactive in this way. So now I've created a learning portal and I've uploaded it, and then I'm capable of actually embedding it directly into my CRM system. In this case, I have created a work instruction. Let's go back into a English user interface. There we go. In this case, I've created a learning portal consisting of 5 different books with different work instructions with them. So you can see here, I can go into this one and I can look at how to create an account, and I'm presented with a complete work instruction and all the learning material for me. But there's one thing that is a bit more neat about ClickLearn, and that is that we're capable of merging together the information that Microsoft provides behind all of their material, the entire system. So this means that if I, for instance, were to go into an account and look at one of these parts in here, and I want to explain something about the different fields, well then I can actually click on the field, go into the ClickLearn help, and then I'm provided with a information that is lying behind. In this case, it is the standard text, but I can also change that at any point in time and then create my own inside help. One thing is that very neat is that this actually gives me cross-references. So I went into the field, was told what the information is about the field and how much I can put into the of characters, but also get the references to what I have created of documentation that supports that field that I went into, or that form that I went into. So in this case, I can go into the account, create an account, and I'm presented with the work instruction that I created. Now, if I want to have this presented to me as one thing is that I could go through all this material again and look at it, but another thing is also that I could maybe want to have a guided tour. I can add my ClickLearn Assistant. This ClickLearn Assistant can, of course, be completely customized into any avatar that you want. So if you have a special logo or anything here that you want to have presented, well, then we can change that. But we have our little friend Brian here, and he first of all tells me the parts that I have written in manually, telling me what I need to be aware of, what I have to have ready to create this account. And then he's guiding me through the live system here, telling me where I need to go. And at any point in time that I've gone through this process and I want to have him stop my presentation, let's say that I'm going into this new one and I already know where I need to go, then I can turn him off at any given time. Here he will come back, tell me I need to go in here, and so forth. So now I get, for onboarding, I get a virtual assistant that will guide me through my live system, and I can at any point in time go in and change anything that I want to in my system, which is very neat for onboarding new employees, or have end users that you want to learn how to use or customers how to do the processes that you want to teach them. And at the same time, you get a complete learning portal that is structured with all the information that you want to have delivered. This was very, very quite fast that I presented all this. And there is, of course, a lot more to know about from ClickLearn. But do you have any questions that something that you want me to answer?
All right. So thank you, Peter. And we do want your questions at this point. If you are holding on to any, please do type them in right now. Peter, the first one that came in, and you may have covered it a bit since the question was asked, but could you review how to turn on and off the recorder once again?
Yes. I'll just, turn on my system here. Just a second. There we go. And we're back in. So, to turn on the recorder, I simply go up on New. Turn on, decide what system I want to record on, and then the recorder is turned on. Then I can go ahead and do the processes that I want to record here. And again, I have to wait for the green rectangle to record anything. So here, I'll go up here and say, record that step and so forth. And then when I turn it off, I click on the two control keys. So two control keys on my keyboard, I hold them down simultaneously, and then I am presented with the saving of the recording.
All right. There's a question asking, how is ClickLearn licensed?
Wow. Yeah, that's really not my table. I know that it is licensed for concurrent authors, and that is perpetual. That's about what I know. If you need to know more, then please reach out to my sales team, and you can do that through ClickLearn.com. And there you can also /try. There you can also be presented with a trial license, and this is also where you can, at any point in time, get hold of the sales team that can tell you how about the licensing and pricing.
All right, wonderful. Let me make a last call for questions here. We had a comment that someone really likes what they've seen, which is great. Thank you for that feedback. Anything else from the audience? Well, just one other note as we maybe begin to wrap up here. There is a very brief survey that pops up as you leave today. Any other feedback you can give about your experience, your thoughts on the session, would be greatly appreciated. Okay, one other question here asking for any other ways that people can find out. I guess, how can we find instruction? Maybe is there help or any other guides on how to do the authoring?
The offering? Oh, yeah.
The tool. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, we provide you with complete service support. So as soon as you come in and you purchase the license, then you will get a hand of our customer care, and they will, of course, teach your authors all the way about how to use ClickLearn and how you go through it, get all the fundamentals about everything. If you have an employee that leaves the company with that knowledge, we will, of course, reteach all new employees and so forth. But we also have a help portal where we have created quite a lot of information about how you can do a lot of the tasks in here. But of course, we will hold your hand all the way through, and at any point of time, you can call us up and we will give you full support.
All right, very good. Well, with that, I think we are ready to conclude. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time today to present.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right, and thank you to everyone in the audience for your time and your attention. With that, we will conclude today's event. Have a nice day.